Hello, and thank you for visiting Graphene Business Law. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please go ahead and click on the subscribe button down below. Graphene posts primarily content that is most applicable to entrepreneurs and small-sized business owners and operators, and subscribing allows you to keep up with all of our video posts. My name is Pam Matani, and I'm the principal lawyer and founder here at Graphene Business Law. We serve primarily customers in the Toronto area. However, we do have clients from outside of those boundaries as well, anywhere in the GTA and beyond that. Now, today's topic is one that seems a bit mystical and unnecessarily so to a lot of the business people we come across here at Graphene. And that is the topic of corporate bylaws. If you're a business owner, chances are you have heard about certain items or mechanisms of incorporation, such as articles of incorporation. You've heard about memorandums of incorporation, depending on the structure and complexity of your business, and of course your business needs. You may have heard and may in fact be in need of, or may have already completed a partnership agreement, shareholders agreements, various sorts of agreements that come together. However, for some businesses, it's not only the owners that have questions about the bylaws, it can be other members that are involved in your business as well, whether other directors or officers or employees. The question comes up, what do the bylaws say? Okay, and that question can come up in a myriad of contexts. But it's a question that comes up, and you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be surprised, to find out how many times business owners are asked that question and they are not aware of what their bylaws say. They're not aware of if they have any bylaws, and they're not aware as to the hierarchy of the bylaws as regards the overall governance of their company, of their business. And what that means is there are multiple pieces in place to help you as a business owner govern your business successfully and have mechanisms for financial adherence, legal adherences, voting, any a wide range of matters. And sometimes these pieces that you have in place conflict. So where do the bylaws fit into this? Sometimes, as I mentioned, you don't have something addressing these matters at all. Again, how could the bylaws help you with this? So today will be very high level overview as to what bylaws are and how they're used in Ontario. I have a list of examples here. I have my computer in front of me, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are multiple pieces of, let's face it, paperwork that can help govern a business, from articles of incorporation to memorandums of association to, minute books is another buzzword I'll address in another video in terms of what that means for your business, and shareholders and partnership agreements. There's a lot of these documents flying around, and the list of bylaws is another one of them. Okay, and in Ontario, and as per Canadian business rules and guidelines as well, bylaws or unanimous shareholders agreements provide typically that the directors of the corporation, as part of the establishment of the corporation, will by resolution pass these bylaws that regulate the business and affairs of the business. Okay, so one way to think about it is that the articles of your business, your articles of incorporation, can be quite skeletal in nature, right? But every skeleton needs, that meat on the bones that fills in the full picture of what we're looking at. And bylaws can help fill in the picture of your corporate governance, okay? Bylaws of a corporation are subordinate to the articles of incorporation. So we mentioned at the beginning, how do these pieces fit together? Well, there's one piece of information for you. Articles always reign supreme. Your bylaws cannot confer powers that are excluded or not conferred under your articles. If there is any inconsistency between bylaws and articles, articles always reign supreme. Maybe I shouldn't say always, because there could be context, in which case, your articles have been drafted through a whole mess of affairs, and maybe what you meant was actually captured in your bylaws. There are certainly so many different happenings that can come across in business law, and that's part of what Graphene is here to help people untangle. But big picture, bylaws are subordinate to the articles. The bylaws cannot be used to address a matter which should have been contained in the articles, and that's important as well, because the terms of the articles are for the protection of many parties involved in your business, not just you, but creditors, various third parties. So there's a host of reasons as to why bylaws not only don't come first, but even if it were the case that your articles contain a gap, if that gap is only to be addressed by the articles, putting a bylaw in place can't be a quick fix to what the articles should have addressed had they been properly drafted, okay? I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have a little bit of a list to help bring that picture of bylaws home. I already mentioned that bylaws can help fill in the gap. Just because they're subordinate to articles of incorporation doesn't mean that bylaws are not important. Doesn't mean that they have their own place. And I think you'll see from this list that actually bylaws can help address quite a bit when it comes to successfully running your business. Okay, so I'm just scrolling down here. The function of bylaws is to prescribe rights and duties of various parties involved in your business. Directors, shareholders, can be a multitude of parties as to the internal governance of the corporation. Bylaws typically address a range of matters, including, and some of these might seem more trivial than others, but they're all important, okay? The corporate seal, your financial year, banking arrangements can be captured by the bylaws. Custody of various securities involved in your business can be captured by the bylaws. Agents and attorneys, corporate officers, that's a big one, can be captured by bylaws. Terms of directors, quorum of directors, your business, you might be the only director, but you'd be surprised how many small businesses have multiple directors, okay? Identification of directors and officers can be captured in the bylaws. Share transfers, liens, share certificates, dividends. It's a long list. Voting shares of securities in the corporation and in other corporations. It's a long list of real life matters that pertain to your business. And as you saw, the list captures anything from financial to voting to the logistics and the shareholder matters. Certain scenarios involving debt can be captured by the bylaws. So I do advise business owners to have bylaws in place. And part of why that's important as well is to help you with times of uncertainties. We've certainly seen so much uncertainty in the last few years when it comes to small business and the day-to-day and what that looks like. Well, it would be best if the first time you're faced with something is not a time that you look to your books and you have nothing that addresses the matter. Of course, that can happen. There are extenuating circumstances. There are circumstances the world has never seen before. We certainly, again, have seen that with years of pandemic life now. It might not have been something that even the best of bylaws could have captured. However, big picture, there are things you can do to have meaningful bylaws that can assist you, your business, it's whoever is involved internally in the successful day-to-day, and make life a little bit easier and just give you that extra bit of item to point to when something is wrong and say, you know what, we did cover it, it's in the bylaws, and our bylaws are adherent with our articles and other matters as well. So that's a really brief video on the bylaws of a corporation, what they are, where they fit in with other documents, and also why they're important. There's a host of daily activity and regular business activity that can be captured by your bylaws, and for you as a business owner, that can make your wishes and your best case scenario be that much more seen and identifiable and able to be respected by others, followed by yourself as well, and just ensure the most smooth transition for your business that you can. Here at Graphene Business Law, certainly we can help you draft bylaws, articles of incorporation, partnership agreements, shareholder agreements, all those documents relevant to successfully launching your business. You can